So you might remember this. This is the Dinky Diecast Toys catalogue, and as you can see from the front, it has for the first time both an Enterprise from the original series of Star Trek and a Klingon Battlecruiser from the original series of Star Trek. Although I can't remember if we actually, well, we see Romulans in them. I can't actually remember if we do see a Klingon in them. But anyway, they are what I think of as a Klingon Battlecruiser. It's named as such, and it's got the right logos for that. Interestingly, this is from 1977. You can just see there on the bottom left. And it is the first year, the first catalogue, in which the Klingon Battlecruiser actually appears. So you can see here on this page that this is actually a new model. So the Klingon Battlecruiser is model 357. And yet, strangely, the USS Enterprise, which preceded it, is 358. Both are alleged to fire photon torpedoes, and there is a door for a shuttlecraft. Now, I had to source a shuttlecraft from eBay separately, but I am told by the auctioneer that it was, by the seller, that it was in fact an original shuttlecraft. So what you see here is the original, all original, as far as I've been told, Dinky USS Enterprise. And as you can see, I didn't do too badly. A lot of the saucer sections that I saw on other auctions were quite yellowed because it's plastic. And if you leave white plastic in the sun for any decent length of time, you end up with yellow plastic. So this one hasn't lasted too badly. The body is solid, it's die cast, it's very, very solid. The warp pylons are plastic, but the actual warp nacelles are also die cast. So it's all very solid. You can see there where it's kind of joined together. So it's got some weight to it. Now, of course, the downside to the Enterprise is that it does not stand up by itself. But in those days, they did not give you a stand. So, as you can see, there is no way that is going to stand up. However, and I assume this is by design, normally in the show, the shuttle bay is at the back here. So where you can see these lines is where the shuttles used to come out of in the series. However, in this version, the shuttles comes out of the belly of the beast. But that is not a bad thing, because when you open the shuttle bay, all of a sudden you have a model that does quite happily sit straight by itself. So in fact, it does come with a stand. It's just a somewhat, I assume it's planned to be like that, because there isn't, I think they have to have done that for a clever reason, I think. So that's a nice touch. And if you're looking for the shuttle for these, it lives in there. It's just very simply held. It's just a very simple stud, and you take it out, and there's the pole there for it to go back on, and it's just a little teeny tiny dinky shuttlecraft. It actually looks more like a next generation sort of shuttlecraft, funnily enough. But of course, that was what they looked like, and they had the nacelles on them back in the day as well. So it's a very nice idea just to keep them there. So you will see a lot of these Enterprises around in old toy shops, because by their nature, by being very die-cast heavy, they have survived very well, as a lot of the older toys have. As I say, the yellowing on the saucer section is perhaps the only thing that you'd want to sort of look out for. But this one's navigational deflector dish is also all right. I'm not gonna try and manipulate it in any way, because it could be quite brittle. But so I'm not gonna go there. But I have the stickers on the front there, and the stickers on the side of the nacelles are a little bit borderline, but they're both there. So, I was quite happy with the condition of this one in managing to pick it up. I mean, I could even attempt to clean it, I guess, but I don't know what the best way to do that would be, I must admit. So, the other thing I want to show you on this is that they came with a bit of action as well. You can see here, there is a convenient slot in the saucer section. You can also see there's a great big turning thing here. And it says upon it, very helpfully, as you can just about make out there, turn to fire. to it, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. Now, I also sourced with the shuttlecraft another torpedo, because I felt it would be daft just to have one, because they're bound to get lost, and this is what this one does. So you turn to fire. It's quite, it does work, but you have to really push it. And so you could get, let's see, how many can you fit in? You can fit, that's a blank, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe more than that. It just kind of rotates around, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly how many gaps there are. But if I do 360 degrees, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would say 8 at a guess. The catalogue doesn't seem to doesn't say how many it takes. That's okay. The catalogue says it's copyright 1976, and so does this model I have in my hand. And I wonder if the Klingon Battlecruiser says something else. Now, I'm just going to dive around and find the photon torpedoes. I want to try something else for the next model I'm going to show you. Bear with me. Okay, successfully retrieved both. Now here is the Klingon Battlecruiser. Now, she again is not in bad condition, and this is the first time I've ever held one in my hands. I knew they existed, but I did not have one when I was little. But here she is. Now, I've just slotted the torpedoes into the top of it, and as you can see here, they do seem to fit. So I'm assuming that they will fire out quite happily. Now, I'm not actually sure if these are original torpedoes, because they are white. In the catalogue, they look more yellowy or orange even, but I have seen both, and so I'm not sure if these just, if they change the colour later on. In terms of timing, this on the underside of it says Dinky Toys, made in England, and again, but this one is 1977. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but that's where the notation is. There you go, just about focusing on that. So 1977 on the front there, and Dinky Toys over on the other side, and it's Klingon Battlecruiser. You can see this one's slightly banged up. It's lost some of the plastic, but it's quite straightforward. They obviously just slot the nacelles in, and I think even the nacelles actually say on them which side they're supposed to go into, which amuses me, because one says Klingon right, one says Klingon left. So it's just to make sure that they manufacture them in the right way, I guess. But I quite like the detailing on the top surface there as well. You can see it's got the Klingon some national emblem there on it, and some Klingonese, or whatever the right phrase is, just Klingon, I guess. And it's got a few little sort of bits and bobs of detailing, and there's a few little windows underneath the bridge section there. So they definitely tried. Now these sticky out bits, so yeah, the technical term, are not part of the normal model for a Klingon D7 or Katinga. However, it's masking the fact that one of these is actually something you can depress, which I'm guessing will fire you out one of these if it'll work. Now, I haven't actually tried this in anger. Ooh, it's popped out the top. That wasn't expecting. Okay. Maybe I overloaded it. Perhaps you're not supposed to have more than one in at a time. Let's try again with just one in. Yeah, that did fire. I didn't actually see it go, but it definitely ended up bouncing back towards me. So that does work. So that's good in the sense that it's definitely still up and running. In fact, it even got some fluff out of it. So maybe that was what was blocking it. Let's try again. It's definitely requires, yeah, it requires a very, very solid press down, but it does work. So this was, really sort of cheap off eBay, because obviously it's damaged. So I knew it was going to. I didn't think anyone else would be particularly fighting me for it in a sort of collector's sense. So, but you know, I was just really interested to get both of them because I've not had both of them. I'm quite sure that there are a few of these around because this is the nacelles are very much more plasticky on this one. I think there's more there that could. In fact, I'm actually going to use its stand because I think that's safer for navigational deflector. But they are really impressive pieces, and according to the catalogue, the Enterprise is 23 centimetres long and the Battlecruiser is 22 centimetres long. So they're not small at all. They're actually, you know, sort of a lot bigger than most of the modern models that I've got, apart possibly from the sort of Eagle Moss XL size models. They'd probably get up to about this sort of size. But otherwise, you know, they're really good toys, and as is often the way with Dinky toys, you know, they very much stood the test of time. But I think this catalogue that I've got is the first time when they were available as a pair from Dinky, because the Enterprise definitely came out first, and then the Klingon Battlecruiser was brought out second, and they are amongst the few examples of Dinky licensed toys, because Dinky had a lot of Jerry Anderson toys, but beyond that, I think, you know, these are, broadly speaking, the only other ones that they actually got that were licensed from an intellectual property, because I think Corgi rather stole the show in that respect, and they got hold of a lot of the other sort of licenses that in the modern day we might consider to be, you know, worth producing toys of. So what can you glean from this? Well, there are lots of people on eBay who are selling various reproduction versions of the original boxes for these two. So, you know, if you wanted to display them as they were originally sold, you can buy reproduction boxes. You can also get reproduction torpedoes and shuttles and all that sort of stuff. So you can bring them up, and stickers actually as well, I think. So you can bring them up to quite a good standard if you can get the base models like I've done here. You know, you can recreate the originals fairly easily if you're willing to spend a bit of cash doing it. But for my purposes and for the purposes of this video, this was as far as I felt my budget could take me. I've no idea what a sort of pristine, originally boxed one would set you back. But I did also notice, while I think about it, that in this last Dinky catalogue that I have, and I think it was in here that I saw it, yes, in this last Dinky catalogue that I got, you can see there on the bottom left that they actually released a set which combined both of them, which I thought was very interesting. Because I mean, I don't remember seeing that when I was little at all. But I mean, why would you unless you were particularly looking for it? So that was that's 1 year later that appeared. So I'm guessing that's probably worth quite a lot, because you'd end up with both of them in mint condition if you could find a boxed example of that set. And I mean, I'm just looking at it out of interest because the discs definitely look yellow in that shot. So I don't know if the white discs that I've got were actually the Klingon Battlecruiser's discs, you know, photon torpedoes. That might be the case, but in any event, I've demonstrated. You know, they've been good enough to demonstrate the firing mechanism to you, and I think that's about all I had to say on these. Really, just quite nice to get them both as a sort of probably amongst the first Star Trek toys to be released, I guess, ever, actually, when you stop and think about it. And they did also release some much smaller ones, but these two obviously were the main sort of market leaders. And I don't think I've even seen the smaller ones mentioned in the catalogues that I've got to date. So it might be interesting. I am getting some slightly earlier catalogues, so I'll keep my eyes peeled for the smaller versions in those catalogues as well, and just see what happened with that. But I think that's it for this one. So thanks for watching. Do like and subscribe. Cheers for now.